Hello there, Badgers. One Angry Pagan here. So, I just watched. This is my initial reaction to watching Leading with Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart interviewing Zack Polanski, leader of the Green Party in the UK, at least in England. And, I liked him. I thought he was good. But when he was challenged on the economic stuff, it was weak. I mean, the stuff he was saying, I agree with, but he was being asked, what legislation would you put forward to change the system? What hard policies would you do to change the system, given the system we were already in? And he could not answer those questions. He kept resorting back to wishy-washy fucking ideology stuff. I don't agree with the ideology. I want to know how you're going to do it. This is one of the things that does my head in about people on the my fellows on the left. Now, this doesn't mean that I have solutions, because I'm not an economist, right? Not a party leader. And I'm trying to learn about this stuff so that, I can also try to think of actual practical things, things to do to change the system, rather than just talking about, we need to tax the wealthy. Yeah. How? We need to do what we did in the 1950s and 60s. Oh, what? You get an international agreement on taxing the wealthy, so you can tax the wealthy properly. I did mention this, but he only paid lip service to it. But then he also, at the same time, said, well, we can do wealth taxes anyway. It's like, right. I'm annoyed. Again, I liked Zack Polanski on Leading, but I got annoyed when Alistair asked him. I wasn't so much bothered about the questions that Rory was asking him, but when Alistair asked him about actual legislation, what would you put in the King's Speech? What would you put in the budget? Couldn't answer the fucking question. He resorted to ideology. No, I don't want more ideology. I want to hear what his practical solutions are for changing the fucking system. Not just the wishy-washy fucking populist messaging. I get that he needs to keep repeating the populist messaging, but when you're asked a direct fucking question like that, you need to have a direct fucking answer, and he did not have a direct fucking answer. He didn't. You can fucking have a go at me all you like. He did not have a direct answer to the question, what legislation would you put forward to change the system then? He could not answer that fundamental question. So when people ask me, why don't you join the Greens? This is why. You'd have thought if they have policies, Zack would have been able to give Alistair a full answer. He was able to give him full answers in other areas. As soon as he put this question forward, it's a bit like tax the wealthy and proportional representation. It's like, right. I mean, you could go on to the stuff that, Rory was challenging him on when it comes to economics. Like, debt to GDP and what's the difference between debt and deficit and whatnot. But he's not likely to be the Chancellor. I mean, what I was thinking more of was what Alistair was talking about, which is legislation. What legislation would you put forward? What plan do you have? This doesn't mean that I'm against Zack Polanski or the Green Party, by the way. I'm just annoyed that once again, when a leftist is challenged on the subject of what legislation would you pass to change the system to make all these things fairer, we don't get solid answers. And Zack Polanski is supposed to be the most promising leftist leader in this country. Well, I want to hear what his actual plans are, not ideology. I'm sorry if you don't like it, if you don't like what I'm saying, but I don't care. I want to know what his plan is, not what his ideology is. I know what his ideology is. It's very similar to mine. I don't want fucking wishy-washy platitudes about how we need to fucking redistribute wealth. I agree with that, but how are you going to fucking do it? My God! It is so fucking frustrating. I was waiting that entire fucking thing for him to slam Campbell and especially Rory Stewart with a plan for how the Greens, how a leftist Green Party would change our system. I was waiting that entire fucking hour and a bit for him to do that, and he didn't do it once. Nothing resembling a solid plan. Just ideology that I agree with, but that's all it was. If someone else can point out to me, because I watched the entire thing, if someone else can point out to me solid legislation he said he put forward in that interview, I'd love to hear it. But I did not hear any solid legislation that he put forward to make real change in this country. All he put forward is ideological ideas. Oh, we've got to work from the principle first. No, have a fucking plan. There are a great many people in this country already working from the principle that wealth inequality is too high as it fucking is. We don't need to keep hearing that. What we need to hear is your plan to deal with it. And I don't just want to hear wealth tax. How will you institute a wealth tax? In what way? Didn't fucking answer that. And I will say, when he was challenged on, you raised capital gains tax up to the income tax. And he was asked, how much that was, and he couldn't fucking answer. It was just like, oh my God. I have to say, my initial response to leading was I'm a bit disappointed by Zack Polanski. I agree with the core of what he's saying, but I need to know what his plan is to change things. That's what I want to hear. This is where I was on Alistair's side. What do you want to do? How are you going to change things? Not what do you like. What are you going to do? Not just what you want to do. How are you going to change things? I'm annoyed. Because Zack could really be, a real positive force for this country. For this union. But I need to see something more solid than that. Let me know what you guys think. I might have pissed off a whole bunch of my viewers on this, but I'm sorry, but Zack Polanski properly disappointed me here. I was hoping for an entire hour and 17 minutes, hour and 7, well, they did their reaction afterwards, so it was about an hour long. And I didn't hear solid policy platform. I didn't. Even when he was asked to provide one, he didn't. Now, he did say he wouldn't expect me to come on with a manifesto. Fair enough. But I do actually want to hear some solid ideas, some solid plans for for how you're going to change the country. Alistair's question was not unfair. Now again, let me know what you think, because I want to hear better. I want to see better from Zack Polanski than this. I don't just want to keep hearing about ideology. I've had enough of just hearing about ideology. So, do you think I'm wrong? Where do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm right? What did you think? What did you watch the episode of Leading with Alistair Campbell, Rory Stewart interviewing Zack Polanski? If not, I suggest watching it. I think he's a great speaker, Zack Polanski. I just wish he wasn't so wishy washy. Let me know what you guys think. My shield at your backs, badges. My sword at your service. Freaks, love, and blessings. And stay safe.